Hello and welcome to the latest episode of We're In, brought to you by Synack. I'm Josh Mason, Solutions Architect, and with me today is one of our Synack Red Team members, Austin. Austin, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, no problem, Josh. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Um, Austin, you've been on the Synack Red Team for a bit now, and most of our listeners have an idea of what the Synack Red Team does, but it's been a minute. Do you mind sharing kind of what you do as a
Yeah,
Synack Red Team member?
of course. So I've been on the Synack Red Team for about 3 months, 3.5 months. So, I know other people on your podcast have been here for years and years. So I'm pretty much a newbie compared to everybody else. But part of my day to day on Synack is I am responsible for reporting vulnerabilities ethically. So I go through, see what I can find, and it's my responsibility to produce the best looking report I can and ship it off to Synack to review and send to the client.
Nice. And now, is it one target for like 2 weeks, and that's all you're doing for like 8 hours a day every day for those 2 weeks?
No, no. So there's a variety of different targets on Synack. So I kind of do a little bit of bunny hopping. So I'll spend maybe a day or so on a target, and if I get bored, I'll swap to another target, and it's pretty much like hopping all over the place. So yeah, lots to
Nice.
choose from. Lots to choose from.
But it's not like just open bug bounty. You can't just go and pen test the world and then throw out a report. You've got
Correct.
specific targets, right?
Correct. Yes. Yeah. So it's not like I can boot up and go hack Microsoft. There's a specific scope and a specific set of targets that I'm legally allowed to test on. So yeah.
Yeah, I think Microsoft's a level 8 uh,
Yeah.
client. So
Yeah.
um, So you've been here for 3 months, you said, and I know we start at like level 1, and then you've got to turn in certain level of vulnerabilities and get those accepted by the VulnOps team. And they're looking for, is it exploitable? Can they duplicate it? Is your like information that you put into the form to go to the client, is all that accurate? And then based off of that, you get paid and you get points, and that's how you move up and up the different levels. What level are you at now?
So currently I'm level 5. So I'm at the top of the food chain right now. I'm kind of shocked that I hit level 5 in the time frame that I did. I've talked to some other people and it's taken them years to hit level 5. So I was pretty blown away when I got that email saying like, "Hey, congratulations, you hit level 5." So definitely was a shock.
Nice. Well, what's different about you? Have you been pen testing things since you were, able to read, or what's kind of your hacker origin story?
So, in terms of my origin story, I mean, I've always been infatuated with computers. From a young age, I actually did a lot of like video game mods. So I used a program called Cheat Engine, which is a debugger to like inflate like my health or like the items that I had. So then I was like, okay, like this is pretty cool. And as time and time went on, and I grew older, the WannaCry ransomware back in 2017 hit, and I was like, "Whoa!" Like I didn't realize that something could affect so many people, and I was like, "This is a field I definitely want to dive into." And then in 2018, when WikiLeaks happened, with like the big NSA scandal with the spyware tools, I was like, "This is the field I definitely want to spend the rest of my life in because it's just so fascinating and so." So I went to college, I got my degree in cybersecurity, and that's kind of my origin story as a hacker. And then during my day to day, I am a security consultant for a cybersecurity firm. So I do a lot of pen tests daily, non Synack. And yeah, I spend the rest of my time on Synack hunting.
Well, oh, what got you interested in the Synack Red Team?
So I have a bunch of buddies who are in the Synack Red Team program. They're kind of my mentors. I definitely wouldn't be where I am today without them. So, an insider threat, Logue, and Ferdum, all three are very well established Synack Red Team members, and I believe Logue is on the Circle of Trust as well. So they kind of got me connected with Synack. And funny enough, I actually got denied my first time around. And that kind of pushed me to try harder. What happened was I just didn't have enough certifications at the time and didn't build up my experience. So as soon as I got that letter, I immediately worked on my OSCP, passed that, and reapplied, and I was able to get in.
Nice. That's awesome. I've been denied a lot of things, and then you gotta hack your way in. So I very much understand. Um, what's been your favorite part of being on the Synack Red Team?
Honestly, so there is, a lot of public programs like HackerOne and Bug Crowd. Those are like some of the most popular open source bug hunting platforms in the world. Um, the issue with them is they're very competitive. So you can find a lot of valid issues, a lot of them critical, high, and they pay well, except it's you versus 10,000 people. So it's very hard to get a bug that actually sticks and lands. What I like about on Synack is the competition is much shorter, like much smaller. So, instead of going against 10,000 people, you're going against 300 people. And on top of that, especially if you're in some special cohorts, or for example, since I'm from the United States, I get to hunt on FedRAMP targets, the competition even gets smaller. So that's what I love about Synack is there's not a lot of competition, and the triage time is insanely fast. Like, for example, I had 3 SQLs I submitted 2 days ago, and they're already they got triaged yesterday. And on
Nice.
these public programs like HackerOne, BugCrowd, resolution can take weeks to months, and it takes a while to get your payout. So, I'm very grateful for Synet.
But yeah, our Vulnops team works fast.
Yes.
Um, have you ever been called back or gotten a notification for a patch verification?
I have. I just did a patch verification the other day on a FedRAMP target. So,
Nice.
um, patch ver if anyone who's listening doesn't know what a patch verification is, it's where you submit a valid vulnerability, the client deems it as an actual security issue, and they kick it back to you once they've attempted a patch for you to verify, hey, does this patch work? And if not, how can it be bypassed? And it's essentially a big back and forth between you and the client. If it's not patched, it'll get kicked back, and then they'll kick it back, and it's just a back and forth.
Yeah. Is it, how do you feel about that? I know you do pen testing as a consultant. You've probably done bug bounty in the past, it sounds like. Is this different? Is this new?
In terms of like,
Like how the communication and the back and forth on patch
no,
verification.
no. So in my day-to-day job, I do a lot of back and forth between clients. Like, for example, I'll find multiple vulnerabilities on a client's, web app. And usually how it works is once they feel like they've patched it, they send me a message and they're like, hey, can you double check that this is patched? So this is really nothing new. I see it a lot of times on HackerOne where they'll invite you and be like, hey, can you test this and make sure that it's, patched, and then they'll send you like $50 or however much they deem is necessary for
Yeah.
patch verification.
Nice. So you can do the other platforms and be on the Synack Red Team.
Correct.
Nice.
Correct. But I just choose Synack because Synac's better.
I get that. I get that. I hear that from a lot of Synack Red Teamers.
Yeah.
Um, we've had Ty and Adam on We're In recently, and they have said the same things. Um, is there a favorite target or not? Don't tell me the company or the organization, but has there been one that you've just loved working with? And do you have any stories without too many specifics of why?
So there was a financial services platform that was on Synack, and it was a United States only target. So that anytime I see United States only target, kind of a light bulb goes off in my head because I'm like, I'm one of only 100 people hunting on this.
Hmm.
Maybe not even that many. Maybe it might be smaller than that. And I was assigned a bunch of different roles. So like there's an administrator, there was a fraud administrator, there was a regular customer role, and it was a dashboard. So what you could do is if you were a fraud administrator, like you could go in and configure fraud amounts, and if you're an administrator, you could do things like user configs and all that stuff. But the default role had no permissions on the dashboard. If you logged into the dashboard, it would just be a blank page. And to do these like privileged requests, there was an admin user ID that was appended onto every request. Now, from this low privileged user, you never got that. You could never see a request where you could get your admin user ID, except when you inspected your JWT token. If you inspected your JWT token, inside was your admin user ID, and I used that and was able to compromise the entire platform and essentially do every single action on that financial services application. So that was a really cool app.
Whoa. One of those, I want to be admin. And so you make yourself admin.
Yeah, yeah, and you're like, whoa, I can't believe this actually worked.
Yeah. Uh, glad you found it.
Yeah,
That's really
yeah.
hard too. That's pretty huge. Um, if someone was interested in joining the Synack Red Team, you've recently gone through the process. You've been denied and came back. What would you recommend to someone who's like, you know what, I like pen testing. I want to be on that team.
Honestly, from my experience, I would highly recommend getting some certifications. Not I feel like I was kind of conquering the Infinity Stones, collecting all these certifications, but I would say the one certification to go after is definitely the OSCP, because not only does it look good towards Synack, it looks good in your professional life because it's a very highly sought after certification. It's very hard too. So I really like a challenge, and OSCP definitely was a big challenge. So highly recommend knocking out some certifications, because my issue was I had a decent chunk of experience, just not the certs to back it up. So definitely knock out those certs.
That's huge. That's huge. My only pen testing cert is EJPT, the
Okay.
Electric Security Junior Pen Tester, and I took that so that I could rewrite the course and make version 2. So,
Nice, nice.
yeah. It is often something I hear, and it's good to have a few of those under your belt to get into the system. That makes a lot of sense. Um, what about just someone in general? You've been in cybersecurity for a bit now. Um, Not necessarily a Synack Red Team member, but what piece of advice would you have for anyone who's, you know, they saw something in the news like you did, a few things, and went, I want to be in cybersecurity. You've been here for a minute now. What piece of advice would you have?
Always keep learning. This field constantly changes on a day-to-day basis. So one of the things I like is I have a very short attention span. So if I learn everything about a field, I can get very bored very quickly. And the one thing I love about this field is that you can never stop learning. There's always something to learn. And especially if you take that push to learn different techniques, you can open yourself up to a variety of opportunities. So, like, for example, what I do is I actively scour HackerOne's hacktivity reports and also some various like bug bounty newsletters. And I'll research some techniques, learn different things, and then I'll apply it to Synack. And I've noticed a lot of the times that the same techniques that other people use tends to work on Synack as well. And especially if you push yourself to learn more material, you can find yourself climbing up the ranks really fast.
That makes a lot of sense. Do you have a specialty? I know I've talked to Ty, and he likes a lot of the understanding the underlying business systems and the flows. I've talked to a few who are big into injection. They just go and they find everything that they can inject and see what works there. Some folks are really big onto IDOR. Do you
Yeah.
have like a specialty or a
I
favorite?
would yeah, so my specialty I would say is authorization and injection issues. That's kind of what I spend a lot of my time hunting on Synack for, because I also like to, you know, like time is money for me. So I don't
Hmm.
want to go after the low hanging fruit, like the captcha bypasses. Like that's not worth it to me. So I go after the heavy hitters. So I specialize in a lot of IDORs, auth issues. Like for example, that financial services platform. I just completely demolished their authorization schema. So and SQL injections as well. I've been getting into that. There's some Synack Red Team members who are very well versed, and have kind of taken me under their wing, which I
That's
appreciate.
awesome.
But like, I'm definitely not a pro in injections by any means, but that is definitely something I'm working towards.
I get that. That's awesome. Well, Austin, it has been great talking with you. Folks, if you enjoyed this, subscribe, like, and share with your friends, and join us again for the next We're In podcast. Thank you.